Amir Albazi and Taira are two of the best flyweights on planet Earth, but they are both coming off of losses. The UFC is using the tried and true technique of taking two fighters coming off of losses to get one of them a win and one of them closer to a title. So at UFC Vegas 108, we will find out who is going to be one step closer to reaching their goals. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 108 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. UFC 108 is going to start with a lady fight. We got Piera Rodriguez taking on Ketlen Souza. We have a 2-1 favorite in this fight. We're almost a 2-1 favorite, and I don't know how. I do not know how. This fight seems a lot closer than these odds are indicating. We have Piera Rodriguez. She's going to move forward. She can be a nasty striker. She's got some finishing ability. She's going to let her hands fly. She's going to throw everything with 100% intent. And she does have some clean technique, but she ultimately ends up just winging punches from her hips. She's also got some decent takedown defense and some solid takedown offense. She has 21 takedowns in her 6 UFC fights. The issue, however, is once she goes to the wrestling, she can't keep you on the ground. She's literally just slipping, sliding, and falling off your back. She is coming off of that win over Josephine Knutson, where the aggression and the grappling seem to be the difference. She's taking on Ketlen Souza. Ketlen Souza is also a pressure fighter. She's a striker by trade, big heavy hands, and 100% of everything that goes out of her body to you is heavy. She's throwing heavy kicks. She's throwing heavy punches. She's shooting heavy takedowns. She will crush you with elbows against the cage. She also will sneak in a takedown or two, but the reality is the technique isn't there. She's just relying on physicality to drag you to the ground. She's coming off that decision loss to Angelo Hill, where you saw the power on the Souza side, but she was just literally not fast enough to keep up with Angelo Hill. And if I could just not pick a winner here, I would. This fight seems way too close. It seems like it's going to be sloppy as hell. I have success on one side, then there's going to be success on the other. I don't think we have a very clean win here. I think we get a weird decision or a razor-thin decision. I'm going to lean Piera here, quite literally only because of the wrestling upside. I think her offensive wrestling is just slightly better than Ketlen's takedown defense, and maybe she comes out like a Nurmagomedov and just shooting, but she at least has that option in her back pocket. This is a tough fight to pick. Betting a money line seems absurd here. The only bet I would even consider, I do think over 2.5 is probably good, but we just got fucking burned on that in the Ricci fight last night. I think Ketlen Souza at plus 3.5, so you're buying points on the judges' scorecard. You're betting the spread. You're counting on her to win a single round or the fight outright. I think that's a decent bet. I think this is far closer than these odds, but that bet's probably going to be minus 250. So likely no bets on this fight, but we've got an interesting breakdown here. We'll see what happens come fight night, but two ladies that'll get after it. I don't see a finish. Over 2.5 is probably solid. Let's take a look at UFC Abu Dhabi. This was a daytime fight card yesterday. Overall, as a fan of fist fights, this was a fun card. Anytime you get that many underdogs winning, it's spectacular. There were 12 fights on that card. 8 underdogs won. It's the second card in a row where the biggest underdog on the card got it done. And you would assume a card like that would be an absolute catastrophe. And why it wasn't the greatest night of bets we've ever had, Jacob was up. Jacob was up 3 full units at UFC Abu Dhabi. Interestingly enough, all the name things, the stuff we've branded, didn't hit. The lock of the week didn't hit. The safety parlay didn't hit. But everything else basically did. And Jacob had a 3-unit net profit night. He covered my 0.37 unit loss. And Jacob, nice little streak here. Nice solid win. And not only did he win with the bets that he put on premium and told everybody about ahead of time, the bets that he was building with the live chat during his Fight Companion live stream went bananas. For the second time in 3 weeks, the full main card parlay hit. Now, that's not his pick or bet. What he does during those Fight Companions is he polls the audience. All right, chat. Let's go ahead and build a main card parlay. And they build a parlay for every fighter in the main card. They slap them together. It hit 2 weeks ago, and it hit again yesterday for $1,762. So credit to the chat on that one. And if you're ever around on a Saturday during fights, check out Jacob's live streams are quite literally the most entertaining live streams in this space. The Underdog Fantasy hit. We had an 8% combined ROI. If you only picked and poked from Jacob's bets, then you would have had a 41% ROI. UFC Abu Dhabi was objectively a wild fight card. So to come out on the other side with premium being up a little bit, Jacob having a solid night, me having a very, very good night outside of that freaking safety parlay, is a win in my book. You can check out every single pick, every single bet. Safety parlays already up for UFC Vegas 108. And while it hasn't been the most reliable bet on planet Earth just yet, hey, take a deep breath. This is the long game. This isn't a scratcher outside of 7-Eleven. This isn't a long day of work and you hit up 7-Eleven, you have a big gulp and a $10 scratch and you're like, my life's going to change. Ooh, my life. That's not what this is. We will get there. We have proven year after year after year that this shit works. So yeah, safety par missing a couple times in a row. That fucks with me mentally, but I promise you, we will be good. We always are. Long-term success for the safety parlay, long-term success for the lock of the week, long-term success for the bets overall. So a couple of chaotic weeks where I ended up money the last 3 cards. Jacob ended up money last night. I'm positive. We're riding. UFC Vegas 108 seems like a much more stable card. Check out every pick, bet, and tool at WeWantPicks.com. Here's the 4 cards you will unlock for that $10. Nice little lineup here. UFC 319 in the middle. We have a couple of incredible fight nights and some solid matchups. Unlock every pick, every bet, every tool for all of these fights. I have this slide here. This fight was canceled, but I'm going to break it down very, very quickly. Not the whole fight. Azamat Bekoev was supposed to fight Torres Finney. That guy bailed, luckily for him. Then Yorsi Belagaru stepped up. He's training with Alex Bejeda and Glover Teixeira in Connecticut. He said, I'll take the fight. Giant dude, kickboxer. He liked the matchup. He can't get a work visa. The government's like, yeah, you're living here right now, but you can't work. So he can't get a work visa. This fight is not official. They will find somebody for Azamat Bekoev. They will. There's only 11 fights on this card. They will find somebody. Whoever, I don't care who it is. Whoever they pick for Azamat, pick and bet on Azamat. I don't care who it is. Azamat's got big boy wrestling, powerful hands, and he's going to get somebody on short notice. Azamat. He was training for Torres Finney. He was training to defend a gazillion takedowns over and over and over. Azamat. As a filming, I don't know who it's going to be, but I don't give a fuck. Azamat. Pick him, bet him, everything. Now, this fight is happening. We got Felipe Bunes taking on Rafael Estevam. I will say, somewhat of a trap. You see the odds, and you're like, oh, 5-1 favorite. And you assume Felipe sucks, but he doesn't. This dude's a BJJ black belt. He's got slick submissions. He's always looking for something on the ground. He's very fast in transitions. He's got nice scrambles. Felipe's not a BJJ nerd. He's not that bum Marcus Buchecha that I picked against at UFC Abu Dhabi, just like, please, for the love of Christ, get in my guard. He's not that guy. Felipe Bunes will actually make something happen. He will engage on the feet. He will shoot a real takedown like an adult man. He loves throwing straights to overhand rights and then transitioning into a takedown. If you take him down, you're going to be defending submissions because he is moving from one to the other, to the other, to the other. He just submitted the insanely tall Jose Johnson. He's taking on Rafael Estevam. This guy is a high-pressure grappler who's going to throw bombs to close the distance. He has absolutely no issues whatsoever marching forward, putting those heavy strikes out there, and then looking for takedowns. His takedowns are a bit sloppy. They do tend to be trips and drags more than just a double right up the middle. But he is relentless with them. He'll continue to working to get you to the ground. Once you are down, he does an amazing job of softening you up and then working to a submission. He's coming off that decision win over Jesus Aguilar, where he had a ton of takedowns and was able to survive an early guillotine. And listen, I started this by saying Felipe doesn't suck. And I stand by that. He does not suck. He's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he's good enough to beat Estevam, but I fully expect that Estevam is going to be in a couple of tricky submissions, and Felipe is going to be in a position to win. Felipe's a nasty grappler, including off of his back. Estevam wants to get this to the ground. He is going to be on the ground with Felipe. We're going to see a couple of random situations where it's like, oh shit, but I think Estevam will work his way out of it. This feels like a trap. Especially if you watched UFC 318 and then you watch UFC Abu Dhabi and you've seen more underdogs than favorites win. This seems like a little bit of a trap. Rafael's the pick. He should be. We just watched him defend a guillotine, a good guillotine against Jesus Aguilar. He didn't panic. He did what he was supposed to do. So he's the pick. He was in my safety parlay for that fight. He is not in my safety parlay on this card. Although I do think he wins. Then we have Rodolfo Vieira taking on Tresean Gore. This is going to be a fun fight card to break down because there are a lot of fights that I am very confident in, and then a lot of fights where I'm like, this doesn't seem to be what it is. This is those, this doesn't seem to be what it is kind of fights. Luckily, the Apex fight cards do traditionally tend to be more stable. We don't have as many chaotic upsets. The decisions are usually solid. Although, shout out to the UFC Abu Dhabi judges. I don't think they got a single decision wrong. I thought the main event was right. All the other fights that went to a decision were correct. I thought they did it. The only thing you could have maybe argued is that Shara Bullet lost one round. It could be 29-28 instead of 30-27. Outside of that, I thought they did a good job. And at Vegas, you can usually trust the judges to do a good job there as well. And I don't know if we're going to need them or not because we have a freak jiu-jitsu athlete versus a guy that has some random power in his hands in Tresean Gore. Rodolfo Vieira is a freak athlete. He's athletic. He's huge. He's jacked. Incredible BJJ. He's a world-level BJJ competitor. He has more than one international title. He's incredibly explosive. He will shoot blast doubles up the middle. The technique is incredible. His game plan is always get the fights to the ground. He can have some success on the feet with some clean striking, but nothing insane. He's coming off the decision loss to Andrey Petroski, which was mostly a striking match because Rodolfo wasn't able to get any grappling going and was perfectly happy sticking behind a jab that wasn't quite that effective, taking on Tresean Gore. Tresean Gore is a heavy-handed come-forward wrestler. He hit a bit of a slump in his first UFC fights, and he wasn't really wrestling. He was gun-shy on the feet. But he seems to have turned that corner. He did just get his floor fucking mopped by Marco Tulio, but he's a little more aggressive. He's letting his hands go. He snatched up a couple of guillotines along the way. Overall, he's a decent fighter. He's got power in his hands. He does have a wrestling background, and if he gets after it and he doesn't end up in a staring contest, he can be dangerous. I mentioned he got smoked by Marco Tulio. That was just quite literally too good of a striker versus a guy that is okay at a couple different things. Tresean Gore, I mean, he kind of sucks. He doesn't suck. He doesn't suck as bad as people are going to say he does. He's certainly better than his 5-3 record. I think he just had sort of a rough go in his first couple of UFC fights. He does have power. He has solid wrestling. He just doesn't show up half the time. Rodolfo is an athletic freak, but he's pretty much BJJ or bust. This fight is definitely closer than these 2-1 odds are telling you. I'm going to pick Rodolfo because he does have a good chin. So even if Tresean lands a few times, I think he'll be fine. I also don't see Tresean getting a random guillotine joke on Rodolfo Vieira. I don't think Tresean's going to initiate the wrestling either. So it's going to be striker versus striker. I think Tresean is just going to be bombing, where Rodolfo will just stick with the technique, and it's not clean. Like, he holds his fist a little weird. It's not like, I think Rodolfo's going to get it done with a million jabs. We probably end up in a decision. If Rodolfo shoots a blast double, fantastic. Fantastic. This feels like a tricky fight, though. I'm probably going to avoid bets over here. Then we have the Fight Simulator. The Fight Simulator is one of the many tools on the website, and I like to highlight the tools because we are quite literally the only people in this space offering that. There's a whole bunch of people like, sign up for my Patreon. Here's 4 bets. There's Eurotrash out there that's like, oh, I'm pretending to be rich. But it's $100 a month to look at my 5 bets. And when those miss, I'm going to say, sorry, I'm going to give you a tennis bet because women's tennis is where the money is at. We have tools. One of those tools, we coded it from scratch. Quite literally, a developer coded a tool. It's called the Fight Simulator. It is not artificial intelligence. What it is, though, is essentially one of the most complicated calculators you could ever imagine. It's taking in historical grappling stats, historical striking stats. It's bringing in all this historical information, and it's simulating the fist fights with data, and data only, and then giving you the outputs. And it's saying this fighter wins, this fighter loses. This fighter lands, on average, 62 strikes in the 100,000 simulations. On average, they're going to get 2 takedowns. On average, and it gives you all that data, and you can use that data to place your bets. You can use that data to build DraftKings fantasy lineups. We have now updated it to be able to build FanDuel fantasy lineups. This is one of the most powerful tools in the space. We're not the only people with a Fight Simulator. There's another one called Saber Sim, and I encourage you to go see what the fuck that costs, because it is $300 a month for the exact same thing, and ours is actually better because ours gives you the average line for each one of those individual stats, and you can drag and move that line to see the percentage over and under depending on where you put it. Fight Simulator is one of many things included in premium membership. There's no upsell. There's no cross-sell. There's no weird packages. It's $10 for everything. Whether you're here for bets, you're here for research, you're here for fantasy, $10, WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Then we have Rinya Nakamura, one of the most disappointing fighters in recent memory, taking on Nathan Fletcher. And I say disappointing because in his last fight, he was a tremendous favorite, a minus 800 favorite, if I'm remembering correctly. And then he went out there and he shit the bed. And you know what? That happens. That happens. Sometimes fighters aren't as good as we think they are. We have fighters that go out there and they fight their asses off and they just don't quite get the win. And that's okay. But when Rinya did it, that's not what we got. We got a world-level wrestler. We got a guy who has quite literally traveled the world competing and wrestling at an insanely high level. We got a guy that has power in his hands. We got a guy that has phenomenal jiu-jitsu. So we have an insane prospect at 9-0 that has proven himself on a world scale as a wrestler. We have a guy that has been knocking people out with one punch. We have a guy that once a fight gets to the ground, he's got slick jiu-jitsu, that just wanted to stand there and try to jab his way to a win. And that's the type of loss that will burn my ass up every single time. How do you have such high-level wrestling and not even try to use it? Ultimately, he did dive at a leg or two after he was dropped. And of course you were dropped. You were not the better striker in this matchup. So whoever your coach was and whoever told you, hey, let's strike with this guy, is an idiot. That guy's an idiot. And I hope he's not in your corner anymore. The reality is, though, Rinya Nakamura is still the same prospect that he was. Did he get knocked down a few pegs against Muin Gafarov, who is very good? Yeah, he did. He did. And hopefully he learned a lesson in that fight. Hopefully it's like, all right, no more fucking, I got to do what I'm supposed to do. Let me use the skill that I've been practicing for 20 years. Let me use that and not try to be a kickboxer. And he's taking on Nathan Fletcher. Nathan Fletcher is an Ultimate Fighter alumnus. He broke his leg on the Ultimate Fighter, but in that fight, with a broken leg, he still pressured forward and he still fought, and that speaks to his toughness. Style-wise, pretty well-rounded guy. Solid grappling, solid striking. He's always looking for a finish. He's got a decent chin. His wrestling offense is better than his wrestling defense, but he's got more heart than skill. He's coming off that loss to Callan Loughran, which even though Nathan lost, they cut that annoying little redheaded goblin, which I love. And I don't know, like, what do I do here? Do I look at this fight? Do I ignore the atrocity that was Rinya's last fight and his fight IQ and his decision-making? Do I call him a fraud and move on? Or do I look at it and say, that was a one-off? If I only watched his last fight, then he is a full-blown fraud. But if I zoom out, which is the only way to do anything in life, you can't look at life one specific incident. You can't look at one specific situation and say that one little thing tells the entire story of this guy's career. Or that one bet tells the entire story of our night of betting. The fact that Rinya didn't do what he was supposed to do in this one fight is an indication of who Rinya is as a fighter. No, you got to zoom out and look at his entire body of work. And if we're only looking at his MMA body of work, okay, he had 9 fights where he did what he was supposed to do. Not all of those were at a very high level, but some of them were pretty solid matchups, and he did what he was supposed to do. And if you zoom out even further and you say, well, let's look at his wrestling career. That guy went out there, competed with some of the best on the planet, and had success. So at that view, the zoomed out view where we're looking at Rinya Nakamura and what he has done as a whole, he beats Nathan Fletcher. The odds indicate this, but I just went on this long rant because after Rinya's last fight, you get the comments, perma-fade, fade forever, future fade. You'll never have anybody to bet on again because after anybody loses, that's the number. Never betting on him again. You can't do that shit. Remember when everybody did that with Walter Walker? Never betting on this slob again. How's he look since then? I think this loss for Rinya in his last fight might be one of the best things that ever happened to him and reset his expectations for this sport. Sometimes, quite literally, things get a little too easy for them. We all know that one kid in school that was insanely athletic but didn't work very hard. I coached wrestling for 15 fucking years at a very high level. And I had kid after kid. Some of them were insanely hard workers and not naturally gifted, and they achieved a ton. Some of them were insanely gifted. Everything came easy. And because it came easy, they didn't work that hard. And they did well, but not as well as they could have or should have. I think Rinya losing will reset. I think quite literally fights were getting too easy for him. And he's like, hey, let's try striking. Like what Bo Nickel did against Paul Craig. Let me just try striking. Problem is, Paul Craig's not dangerous on the feet. Muin Gafarov is, and he rocked Rinya a few times, was a major issue. So a lot of yapping to pick a minus 425 favorite, but I did all of that to basically paint the picture. This guy's not the bum that everybody's going to claim he is. I think he just had a tough night with a terrible game plan, and competing internationally for as many years as he did tells me that this guy can suck it up, make the adjustments, and move on. Then we have BJJ nerd Nick Klein taking on Andrey Pulyaev. And that's supposed to be Andrey, not Audrey. Audrey's a lady's name. And I feel bad because I'm going to pick Pulyaev here, and I already have a little bit of a bet on him. So sorry for the lady name typo, Audrey. But he's going to look like a real man because Nick Klein is going to be the lady in this fight. On his back with his legs open, come into my guard. Nick Klein is very close to a jiu-jitsu nerd, and I can't stand jiu-jitsu nerds. No offense, Nick. I mean, we're just breaking balls here, okay? You went to the barber. You said, hey, give me the coolest haircut that middle schoolers have right now. They're like, sick, bro. It's a fucking mullet. And he gave himself one. And now it's like, hey, look at my cool tattoos and mullet. I'm fucking sweet, aren't I? Because it's not an authentic mullet. If Bryce Mitchell had a fucking mullet, it's like, okay, yeah, he's probably had that. Go check that kid's fucking second grade school picture. Guarantee there's a mullet in that. But the nowadays mullet, I live in a nice town, okay? I live in an expensive area outside of Dallas. It's a nice family town. 80% of these little boys have mullets. And you know what? At their age, it's a trendy, cool thing, and they're all wearing those expensive-ass pink baseball shorts and those ridiculous... Having a boy has got to be so fucking expensive with as much as this trendy drip costs. But Nick Klein, to be 29 years old, like, give me a sick mullet, bro. What are we doing? Anyway, I mean, congratulations on the hair, frankly. Nick Klein, while I'm dogging him for the haircut and calling him a BJJ nerd, is tough. And he's not a coward. He's got rangy striking because he is tall at 6'1". He likes to stay on the outside. He'll pump the jab. He'll throw some leg kicks. He'll keep you at distance. He will eventually take a shot. He does a good job lowering his level, shooting takedowns, closing that distance, and then transitioning into BJJ. On the feet, he's a little bit soft. He's a little uncomfortable, but he did shock the world for at least 1 minute in time there where he had Mansour Abdul Malik on ice skates in that matchup where he was plus 900 underdog. So Nick Klein, giving him a hard time with the haircut and a couple other things. But the reality is, he's a tough dude. He will come forward. He will try to win a fight. The problem is if he can't get it to the ground, the striking won't be enough, especially in a matchup like this because he's taking on Andrey Pulyaev. This guy's a very good striker. He takes his time. He keeps things tight. He is very tall. He uses his range well also. He's got a jab. He throws it out there more often than most do. Many times, there's not a lot behind it. It's literally just pumping a jab. It's not like 1-2. It's just like one. He does a nice job working the body on the feet. He'll transition to takedowns when he needs them. He is coming off that decision loss to Christian Leroy Duncan, where the cage takedown defense was solid. Going into his UFC debut, I called Nick Klein a jiu-jitsu nerd. I didn't railroad the haircut, but we didn't have this picture. Then he had Mansour Abdul Malik rocked, a Division I wrestler with giant power in his head. He had him rocked. He had him on ice skates. And you can only imagine the stress I was feeling in that fight because I was very stressed watching that. And despite seeing that flash of awkward power, I still think he's closer to a jiu-jitsu nerd than he is a full-blown, well-rounded fighter. And if he cannot get takedowns, he will get picked apart at range. He's used to being the longer, rangy guy, but Andrey is the better striker. So Andrey, who also fights at range, will have more success doing that. Andrey's takedown defense, it was impressive in his last fight, and unless it's shots right in the middle of the cage, I think it'll hold up here. Andrey's the pick. I was hoping the odds would swing the other way. We basically had even money, but they're starting to widen. Andrey's becoming a very real favorite, so I went ahead and threw a half unit on him. Only a half, because it's not like Andrey's had a ton of success either. But at this point in betting on MMA, where you have minus 500 favorite, minus 700 favorite, and that's the normal on fight cards, anytime you get a really close odds in a fight that you are pretty confident in, you got to take that side. You got to just get the odds when you can get them. So I'm going with Pulyaev here. Have a little bit bet. And then if you want $50, I'll send you $50. It's very simple. The only thing you need to do to get 50 real human dollars, Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, not $50 in credit, no, actual money, is go to wewantpicks.com/bets. On that page, you'll see a couple of different sports books and their own offers. I will say they will match your deposit. So if you deposit $1,000, they'll give you $1,000 and you have $2,000. But there are rollovers. People don't fully understand that. You don't have to accept the free money. Let's say you use our Bet Online link. And then you go to Bet Online and you deposit some money and they match that deposit. So you have some free money and you won some bets. And then you want to withdraw your money. You have to bet it a few more. They gave you free money. And the free money can't be bet once. You got to bet it a few times. If you don't want to play that game, if you're just short, the zoom in, short version, I want to place one bet and get the fuck out of there. You can do that. Don't take their free money. If you take the free money from the casino, they're going to make you bet it a few times. My free money, the $50, that's real money, and you do whatever the fuck you want with it. So go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Use the affiliate link, sign up with a sportsbook, make an account, make a deposit. They're going to pay me a one-time commission. I'm going to slice off some of that money and give it right to you. Very simple exchange between us. And then what the hell you do with the sportsbook, that's on you. I am not a sportsbook. I am an affiliate. wewantpicks.com/bets. Guys, UFC 319 is around the corner, and it is a pay-per-view. For pay-per-views, we film vlogs, and for vlogs, we have a mail day. We've been getting some incredible mail lately. We've been getting some very thoughtful things from people. My dog passed away a little while ago, and that resonated with people. I guess a lot of you, I assume, a lot of you have had your own best friend not live forever, which is the unfortunate reality of having a pet. And so a lot of you sent some stuff, and I appreciate that, genuinely. We just got my dog's ashes on Friday. I fucking cried. I'll tell you that. As soon as I opened the box, I was like, oh, fuck. And my daughter's like, is that Scout? I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, if you want to send a letter, our buddy Thomas Rinker is always writing letters. If you run a small business and you're trying to get it off the ground and it's a product that would make sense for anybody who watches our content, send it. I will open it. I'll read it. I'll talk about whatever it is you want me to say, we'll say. Send something for the vlog. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Here's a fight simulator again. I am very proud of this tool. This is not just some slap together bullshit. Okay, when you talk about the capper space and we talk about the tout space, there's different verticals and different avenues. There's Joey Tapology, who's just going to, I'm just going to read what's on the green dot, red dot, here's who wins. If you want to go to my Patreon. Then there's, I'm trying to be the genius in the room, and I think I'm smarter than everybody. Here, it's $100 a month because I'm going to create some false sense of I don't even know. It's like two shirts made in the same factory, and one's $1,000 and one's $30, and everybody wants the $1,000 one because of perceived whatever the fuck. And then you have a couple people in between. But we're the only people that have put together a full-blown offering. We are the only people that have tools, that have an artificial intelligence, that have a fight simulator, a fantasy optimizer, that do prize picks, that do underdog. We have 5 total cappers. One of them is a robot, 4 of them are humans. We are the only people that have built a single package at an unbelievable $10 price point. If you go to the website, you instantly have access to everything. There's no upsell. There's no cross-sell, and it's $10 even. Not $10.99, not $10 and 10% sales tax. $10, bang, even. WeWantPicks.com. You will get the tape index as well. Tape index is a research tool. A lot of you like to watch tape study, especially now in this chaotic world where giant underdogs are winning left and right and everybody is a genius on Saturday night. Like, oh, Carlos Leal was always a fade. Shut the fuck. Carlos Leal was always a fade. The dude who showed up on short notice against Rinat Fakhretdinov and basically won that fight but got robbed. The dude that smoked Alex Morono without any issue whatsoever, fighting a 41-year-old who we've seen unconscious. That was always a fade. Shut the fuck. He pressured too much and Salikov bombed the right hand over the top. That is what it is. But if you want to do your own tape study and watch the fights before you spend money, we've got it lined up for you. We have a tape index. And a tape index is exactly that. It is an index. What we don't have are the fights hosted on our website. That's against the law. There are things called copyright law. What we do have is every fighter on every card this week and for the future, their full fight history, who they beat, what the odds were, how they beat them, all of that information. And if there's a little red play button, you click it, and assuming you have the right subscriptions and access, it pops up and the video is good to go. The beauty of the tape index is it is constantly updated. A few months ago when all the fights were hosted at ESPN, boom, video popped up, ESPN, you were good to go. When they moved them all, because ESPN got spiteful and deleted every single UFC historical video, and they moved the Fight Pass. Now, boom, Fight Pass. In the future, when they move to maybe a Netflix or ESPN again, or wherever they go in a couple of months here with their next contract, boom, tape index is adjusted, and you don't have to go out there hunting for the videos to do your own research. We have the optimizer. It's no longer a DraftKings optimizer. It's a fantasy optimizer because it will build FanDuel fantasy lineups as well. The first ever beginner mode. Not only are we putting out tools, we are quite literally redefining what these tools do and how they work. Because instead of what Awesemo and Roto Grinders are doing, trying to get the giant whales charging $100 a month for access to the exact same tools, what we're doing is we're looking at the regular person. 90% of you are regular people who watch fights, enjoy fights, want to place a few bets, maybe build some DraftKings lineups and have some fun. And for those people, we have a beginner mode. You click beginner mode, and instead of expecting you to know how to use an optimizer, it's just going to ask you some questions. Who are your confident favorites? What underdogs do you like this week? You answer those questions, it'll do the work for you. But if you are an expert, if you are a sharp, and you've been using these tools for years, you don't need to use the beginner mode. Use the regular mode. Make the adjustments yourself. All of that shit and the rant and the raving I'm doing is available for an entire month. $10. 10 even dollars for an entire month. You're going to spend more than $10 today eating something that will send you to the toilet later that you will immediately regret. What you won't regret is full access to every pick, every bet, every tool for 30 freaking days. You're going to get this card. You're going to get the fight night next week. You're going to get UFC 319 the week after that. And then you're going to get, I believe this is UFC China after that. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member at the top. Here is the toll-free number. I got some messages last night. I'll fucking tell you that. 866-WE-WANT-PICKS. You want to leave a message? Leave a message. I don't quite know what we're doing with it yet. Some of it is like feedback and suggestions for premium. So obviously we're doing some with that. Others are entertaining. We put together a montage. We played some of those clips and it was a good time, but the views weren't great because obviously you don't just want to hear random people's voicemails. You want to see us react to it. So I don't quite know exactly what we're going to do with these just yet, but we will get there. We will figure it out. And we listen to and see every message that comes in. If you want to leave a voicemail, 866-WE-WANT-PICKS. That's 866-939-2687. And Jacob and I will be at Noche UFC. It's in San Antonio. Fight card kind of fucking sucks. I'm going to be honest with you, but we will be there. If you're in that area, swing by. I'm sure we'll post up at a bar, let everybody know if you want to grab a drink. I'll buy it for you. Especially if you're premium, I'll buy it too. But we will be at Noche doing the thing. I think Jacob's idea was, let's stream the entire drive down. And it's a 5-hour drive. He's like, let's just do a 5-hour stream. And like a IRL streamers. And I was like, as long as you're driving, fine with me. So I don't know. See you at Noche. Then we have the main card opener. Danny Silva taking on Kevin Vallejos. This is okay, what have we been seeing this year, guys? What have we been seeing? We've been seeing highly touted prospects get fucking smoked. Have we not? This feels like that, doesn't it? We have Kevin Vallejos at almost a 5-1 favorite over Danny Silva. You would assume Danny Silva was like 10-6. Or Danny Silva had giant gaps in his game, but that's not really the case. He's a striker. He's got clean technique. He's got plenty of movement. He will invest in the body early for a late payoff. The striking differential is insanity. This guy is landing 7.36 significant strikes per minute, which is an astronomical number. The average is like 4. But he's being hit with more than that somehow. He's being hit with 7.96 significant strikes per minute. How you're hitting people almost 8 times and getting hit 8 times is crazy. But this guy has no problem getting after it, staying in your face. He doesn't have much in the way of offensive wrestling, but he does have good takedown defense and a good get-up game if he is taken down. He's not amazing at anything, but he's a solid striker. He can wear you down and take a decision. He's coming off his 3rd UFC decision in a row, this time over Lucas Almeida. He's taken on the hyped, he's small, but hyped, Kevin Vallejos. This guy's a powerful striker. He sends a beautiful 1-2. If you kick, he's going to catch it. He's going to send the straight right down the middle. He is very dangerous. He's comfortable on the feet, impressive speed, considering how much power he has. He's got a few submissions, but there are some grappling holes. He can be heavy on the front legs, so anybody with some nasty leg kicks can chew that up, but we haven't quite seen that exploited just yet. He's coming off that big knockout win in his UFC debut. This is a fun fight. Kevin is going to be the pick here. I think it should be a straightforward, logical pick, meaning Danny Silva gets hit with 8 significant strikes per minute. The striking defense is just not there. Kevin hits like an absolute freight train, so we should be good. And if it somehow ends up in a decision, we've seen Kevin have some solid cardio, considering how much work he does. Danny Silva is solid, though. He's on his own win streak. He's not as dangerous, and I think he needs to kind of stay away from the chaos and not just get after Kevin. Vallejos is going to be the pick. Another win could have him one of the better prospects in the division. So we're going the Kevin side, but I don't know. These last few weeks have me fucking nervous with some of these big prospects. Then we have Neil Magny taking on Elizeu Zaleski. We got old versus old, which is an appropriate matchup because Neil Magny is old. And they haven't had him fighting old people. They've been giving him prospects, and now he's fighting Elizeu Zaleski. Old. He's listed at 38. That dude's fucking older than 38. But we got Neil Magny. This guy's incredibly well-rounded. He's been around forever. He seems to be the UFC's go-to guy for like, all right, let's see how good this prospect is. Neil's good enough. He's well-rounded enough. He'll give him a tough fight. Let's see what this guy's really. He's a tough guy. He's very experienced. He's skilled everywhere. Mostly a busy striker, but he's got a little bit of everything. He does have solid grappling. He's got an average of more than 2 takedowns per fight. He is 22-12 in the UFC, and he's fought a who's who of this division. He's coming off that knockout loss to Carlos Prates last year. He's taking on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. And while that whole last name doesn't fit on this slide, what does are his skill sets. This guy is a very athletic capoeira striker. Capoeira is that Brazilian dance fighting. And he's not quite as mobile as a lot of other people that have that style, but he is a very mobile guy with real power in his hands. He can also grapple. He's very dangerous on the ground. Busy, active striking, constantly moving. Very real power, very real athleticism, very real cardio. He's a pretty dangerous dude, but he's old. He's old. And we just watched him get knocked out. He had Chidi Njokuani rocked in his last fight, and then Chidi turned around and said, not today. Boom. Put him to sleep. And we have 2 guys coming off of knockout losses with a combined age of 75 years old. We might literally watch the CTE set in real time. The reality is that both of these guys are well past their prime. The loser should retire. Skill-wise, it's kind of tough to break down because Neil's the more well-rounded of the 2, but he's not dangerous at all. Zaleski is very dangerous, but he has built an entire career on being athletic and having power, and both of those 2 things are fading with his age. Neil also has been knocked out twice in the last 12 months. All of his recent losses, though, are to killers. Young prospect killers. So now we either have Neil Magny, who's finally going to get a win over an age-appropriate opponent, or Elizeu Zaleski, who's just going to put the nail in Neil Magny's coffin. This is very much either Neil by decision or Elizeu by KO. I don't see anything in between. I'm torn. But I'm going to lean, if I have to lean one direction, I'll go with the more dangerous of the 2. We've seen Neil knocked out twice in 12 months. Zaleski can knock people out. I just have to go that direction despite not loving it. Then we have Karol Rosa taking on Nora Cornole. Karol Rosa, pitter-patter striker, solid footwork. She is a decision fighter. She's got decent takedown offense, decent takedown defense. She has 12 takedowns in 11 UFC fights and a solid 70% defense. She does not have any real power, but she does have cardio. She does have pressure. She's coming off that loss to Aylin Perez where her feet seem to be stuck in the mud, but maybe because she was worried about takedowns coming her way. She's taking on Nora Cornole, a violent striker with power and aggression. She does a great job using all of her tools. She'll elbow against the cage. She'll knee in the clinch. She'll punch. She'll kick at range. She'll do literally anything she can do to try to find a KO or TKO. She's a gamer. She's always striking with something. She doesn't really look to wrestle often, but when she's on the ground, she's got good BJJ. She'll take some risks chasing a submission. She's coming off a submission win over Haley Cowan And it's a weird breakdown because experience definitely does matter, especially in women's divisions. But so does just good old-fashioned tenacity. We just watched Davy Grant, and he was the older fighter in that fight, but we just watched Davy Grant as a 3 or 4-1 dog beat Damon Blackshear. And he didn't do it because he was faster. He didn't do it because he was stronger. He didn't do it because he was actually the cleaner, more technical fighter. He did it with good old-fashioned tenacity. We just watched Karol get stuck in the mud. Watch her not throw as much as she should. A willingness to stay on the cage. And if Nora comes out here with that good old-fashioned tenacity and she stays busy and stays in Karol's face and moves forward, I think she can get it done. The judges like pressure in Vegas. The judges in Vegas like damage. The judges in Vegas are looking less at who landed what and more at who is trying to finish the fight. And in this fight between these two, I think Nora is going to be the one trying to finish, moving forward, throwing everything. And I think she could sneak out a close decision. So Nora's going to be the pick. I'm going with the dog here. Hopefully this line widens and we can get a 3.5 to stay a little safe. Then we have the tape index. I did a whole rundown before. It's an index of every fighter on every card, now and for the future, their full fight history, who they fought, what the odds were, if they won, if they lost, how. And then if there's a little red play button, you can watch the actual fight. And I have to emphasize, it's a tape index. What it's not is illegally hosted copywritten content. I'm not going to jail over a fucking UFC fight. What it is the convenience of not having to dig through the depths of hell. The UFC just left ESPN. Obviously, we're still watching fights on ESPN, but every single fight historically was on ESPN. And then one day, gone. They were all gone. So we had to quickly adjust the tape index. And we had to move from ESPN over to Fight Pass. And you know what? In a couple of months, the UFC is going to sign a new deal somewhere else. And all those fights are going to move again. So the tape index saves you some time, gives you the convenience of seeing someone's full fight history, gives you the convenience of click this button, and as long as you're good to go, video's going to pop up, and you can watch the fight and do your own research. For those of you who like to do your own research and you value your time, $10 an entire month. This is one of 20 different tools. It's not the only tool. It's one of many tools. And the minutes it saves here, the minutes it saves there, way more than $10 worth of your time. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Then we have Esteban Ribovics taking on Elves Brenner. Esteban Ribovics is good. He's a good fighter. I think he wins this fight. Spoiler alert. And this is one of the very few fights on the card where I was like, these odds are actually not wide enough. I keep breaking down -4, -500 favorites, -3 to 100 favorites, where I'm like, it seems a little wide. This is the opposite. This does not seem wide enough. Esteban Ribovics is very good. He's an impressive striker. He's got sneaky power. His strikes are tight. They're short. They're accurate. He's got a high, tight guard. He works forward, picking his shots. And despite his impressive knockout highlights, he's not just a striker. He's got very good takedowns, solid BJJ as well. He'll shoot clean doubles, upper body trips. He'll get you to the ground immediately. Look to snatch something up. He's coming off that close loss to Nasrat Hakparas, where a lot of people felt he got robbed in that decision. He's taking on Elves Brenner. Elves Brenner has a handful of big knockouts as an underdog. And you know what? Good for him. He showed up, smoked some people, were like, shit, dude, who's this guy? And I remember his first big knockout as a dog. Our artificial intelligence picked him to do that. And then it went like 6 weeks in a row picking the biggest winning dog on a card. And people were like, oh my God. And then the world corrects itself and things start to average back out. But Elfsbrenner has proven that even in an underdog spot, he can find that chin. He moves forward. He throws big. His goal is typically to get you against the cage so he can work you to the ground. But then he worked in some bombs. He knocked a few people out. And now it seems to be that Elfsbrenner is just looking for big knockouts. He is very dangerous both on his feet and on the ground. He's coming off that knockout loss to Joel Alvarez where he struggled with the reach, so it was just haymaker after haymaker. Esteban is a very good fighter. He has actual technique and he uses it well. Elves is not. Elves is a dangerous fighter. He's got incredible power, but it ends there. I see Esteban just being too technical, too fast. I don't see him getting caught in just some sloppy, wild overhand. Esteban is the pick. I love these odds, and I think they should be widening. And if they don't, great. Remember a few weeks ago when I broke down Venetia's lock dog And I was like, how the hell is this guy not a bigger favorite than this? And that line kept tightening, and it made no sense. And then fight night came, and I was like, yeah, see? I feel like we're going to be in the same boat with Estevam Rivabics. Minus 270. If I was setting these lines, so I always, all the research I do, I try to avoid seeing the odds. I break down the fights. I do my picks. And then I look at the odds. And if I had to cap this, and when I was breaking it down, I was like, dude, Estevam, okay, here we go. Another fucking minus 500. And I took a look at the odds. And I was like, this? He's not minus 500? Crazy. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. Chris Duncan taking on Mateusz Rebecki. This is another fight where the odds are absurd. This is another fight where the odds are way too close. 2 fights in a row. These odds should be much wider. We have Chris Duncan. Everybody loves this guy. He's at American Top Team, so he's well-trained. He's durable as fuck. He's tough as nails. He's never out of a fight. We've seen him on more than one occasion almost be finished just to recover and get his own win. Style-wise, he's got decent striking. His hands are low, which is why he gets hit so damn much. But he is willing to bang. He can grapple. He's got 14 takedowns in 6 fights. He can struggle with some control. He's coming off that submission win over Jordan Vucenic, where he landed a huge overhand early and nearly got that stoppage. He's taking on Mateusz Rebecki, a relentless grappler who marches forward, giant 1-2 punches before he starts diving at legs. And even though he is a grappler, he will absolutely hang around for a striking match. Every single punch he throws is with intent. And when he gets you to the ground, he is looking for a finish. He can be reckless. That leaves him open on the feet, gives his opponent some space to work. But damn, is this dude a dog. He's got solid cardio, which is insane considering the pace he sets. He's coming off that absolute war with Motobek Orobai back in October. Chris Duncan has built an entire career just being tougher than his opponents. Quite literally. His career has been, I'm going to weather a storm, and then I'm going to take over. And that's easy when you're fighting Jordan Vucenic or when Balagioki shoots a shitty takedown. That is not easy when you're fighting a savage with powerful hands and fantastic wrestling. The way Rebecki went to war with Motobek Orobai in his last fight is more than enough for me to know that he sprints right through Chris Duncan. I don't even think this is a close fight. Rebecki being a 2-1 favorite is a gift from the MMA gods to apologize for the shit that we've been getting. Mateusz Rebecki runs through Chris Duncan. If you get this version of Mateusz Rebecki, the one that just fought, and he fights the version of Chris Duncan that just beat Jordan Vucenic, it's not even close. Mateusz Rebecki should be 5-1. He is the pick. And then we have the main event of the evening. You're going to get a much softer pick out of me on this one. I don't know how there's a 3-1 favorite in this fight. I don't know how. This should be much closer. We got Amir Albazi, a solid prospect, or at least he was for a long period of time till he had a couple of surgeries. He's got good grappling, solid striking. He sets a nice pace. He's comfortable striking. He's light in the toes. He's constantly bouncing in and out. He's got a long jab. The fact that he's light on his toes allows him to very quickly lower his level, snatch up a leg. On the ground, he's quick. He's slick. A good grappler, not just the wrestler looking for control. He will take risks. He will roll for positions. He will snatch things up. He is coming off that uneventful loss to Brandon Moreno where he just could not get the striking or the grappling going. Taking on Tatsuro Taira. He is coming off his first career loss, and he is looking to reestablish himself as one of the best flyweight prospects on the planet. And that was flyweight with an F, and then prospects with a P, planet with a P. But because I talk so goddamn fast, I said flyweight, so I did triple P. So we got triple P, Tatsuro Taira. He's only 25 years old. He's got a lot of experience under his belt considering his age. He's got okay power in his hands, strong grappling skills. He does not have the best takedowns in the division, but he will stick with those. He will set them up with the hands. He will drag you to the ground. He's coming off that close loss to Brandon Royval, where he was behind on the striking, but he had 6 takedowns. Both of these guys are coming off very similar losses where they couldn't handle their opponent's striking pressure. The only real difference between the two is that when Taira fell behind, he did something about it. He's like, I don't like what's happening with the striking. I got to go all in on the wrestling. And he did. Albazi was perfectly content doing the exact same shit for 25 minutes and giving up all 5 rounds. And now, obviously, there were some circumstances for Albazi going into that fight, a long layoff, some serious injuries in between. But if I have to sit here and I have to pick a winner, I'm going to go with the guy that I'm positive, at the very least, will do something to try to win. He will put himself in a position to win. I've seen Amir with my own eyes not do anything. I'm striking, I'm losing the striking, but let me just keep doing this exact same shit like something's going to change. Where Taira is like, I'm striking, this isn't working, I'm wrestling now. I'm going to go with that guy. So Taira's going to be the pick because I think he will put himself in a position to win. I think he will make adjustments on the fly. Amir Albazi, a year ago, without the Brandon Moreno fight, would have been a favorite. There's a lot of recency bias in this line, which is why I'm surprised it's as wide as it is. But Tatsuro Taira is going to be the pick. And as long as he mixes things up and doesn't go all in on just the wrestling early, because Amir is a very good defensive wrestler, as long as he doesn't just go all in on the wrestling immediately, mixes things up, Tatsuro Taira should get it done. He's going to be the pick. Guys, that's the breakdown. Don't forget, we do have an app. You can download the app now. It's 100% free. The app is just available in the iOS App Store. Just search We Want Picks. Download the app. Make sure you have notifications turned on because we will send you push notifications. A, anytime we place a bet. B, when we do our DraftKings and Prize Picks and Underdog. C, for general news updates like, hey, we're live right now. Hey, I sent him one the other day. Cody Brundage is live with us on the channel. Come stop by. And even if you're not premium or even if you don't log into the app, you will get the push notifications. It won't tell you what the bet is, but it'll say, hey, new bet's on the board. If you're premium, you click it, you can see the bet. If you're not, you still get the notifications. So download the app, get the notifications. If you don't care about the bet ones, don't look at the bet ones. But we will give you general updates on things happening. 2 months ago, we had 2 fights drop on fight day. And the thousands of people that have downloaded an app got a push notification, so they knew. Go make their adjustments in the bets and their DraftKings fantasy lineup. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Here's that damn fight simulator again. And I wouldn't keep talking about it if I wasn't so fucking proud of it. This is huge. The fact that we went from a couple of guys on YouTube breaking down fights to building industry-leading tools for our peers and sports bettors and the community that we love is insane to me. It's insane to me. The evolution is insane to me. And I am genuinely excited and proud to be able to work with the people that I work with, Jacob, Josh the web guy, the developer, work with them to build these tools and give them to you guys for fucking $10. I love it. I absolutely love it. You're going to get the fight simulator, the tape index, the new optimizer that does not only DraftKings, but FanDuel and has the beginner mode. We have the data analyzer, the most slept on tool in this space. If you like to look at data and you want to manipulate data, this is quite literally the best tool you could ever think of. It's built not only for this card, but for the future. You select your card, you select your fighter. It'll populate all the pertinent stats and information for your fighter and their opponent. And then you can add filters. I want to see strikes. I want to see strikes in wins. I want to see strikes in decision wins. And you can just keep stacking filters to get all that information. You're going to get the line movement tracker. This will give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every fighter on every card. You're going to get the prop hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And you're going to get more than just me. You're going to get regional Rain Man, Artem, who's breaking down regional fight cards at remarkable accuracy. You're going to get the artificial intelligence that's picking fights based solely off historical data. And you're going to get BetSam. BetSam gets after it. This dude's up 20 units, down 3. Up 30, down 10. He's got some highs and lows, but the long-term BetSam success is crazy. Check it all out. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10 for an entire month. And again, you want 50, we'll send you 50. Go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use any of the affiliate links. Sign up, make it a deposit, send you $50 as a thank you. Guys, that's the breakdown. I appreciate every last one of you. Doing these on a Sunday morning is one of my favorite things of the weekend. And what's funny is because Saturday nights, it feels like a burden. Saturday nights, I'm like, oh, I got to wake up. I got to film the break. And then I wake up and I get some coffee and I push one out. And then I sit here and I'm like, let's talk about fights. And I get excited breaking down these fights for all of you. I appreciate every last one of you. I hope I get to meet a bunch of you at Noche. We'll see you later this week for our live stream and everything else that we do. Good luck this weekend.